and just let's talk about your experience on being on the road with PJ. I feel like PJ is not he has set an example and a standard for independent artists of just doing it from the ground up. So how was that experience for you?
I still can't find words sometimes though. And I think because what that situation taught me was that I need to live more in the moment. Because I just remember worrying about every night and just being so anxious and nervous that I couldn't enjoy it sometimes. But there, of course, were shows that I'll never forget. I'll watch clips now and be like, who is that guy on stage? Because I didn't know, like, just that fall before that spring tour, my friend Ash, she was opening for him. And I remember going to the Dallas show and being literally saying in my mouth, yeah, I really want to go on tour one day. Not knowing that a couple months later, I had just released my album, and it was I remember releasing my album and he posted about it. It was like the same. I think I released my album the same week as the Walls Group and a few other people, and so he posted all of our stuff. And I was just super grateful for that because I met PJ back in 2015, and I wanted to work with him and just different things like that. And it never happened, of course. And he eventually started following me because of like my visual work as well, because I hadn't been really putting out music consistently enough for me to be known for I was known for my music and my singing, but people were also looking at me like, oh, this is really dope visually. So he started following me because of that, asking my opinions of just different things. And yeah, I remember I released my album, didn't think anything of it. And that top of the year, I remember I had gotten a call to open for Layla Hathaway during like that competition that she had. And that same week, like with a day apart, I got a DM from him like, hey, would you like to open on the More Gumbo tour? And I'm like, hell yeah. Like anytime PJ asks me if I want to do something, I'm like, hell yeah. I didn't even give you the details. He was like, you don't even know how much money you're going to make. And I was like, I don't care. Like I literally asked God for this. But the thing is, I had put my album out just wanting to put it out. Because before then, I had kind of been like a SoundCloud dude. Like I was just putting stuff on SoundCloud. And during that time, being on SoundCloud was enough. People were flocking. I had millions of streams like on SoundCloud. Like that was happening.
That's how I got introduced to you as well, too.
Yeah, SoundCloud changed my life. But yeah, I just remember him asking and kind of like not even knowing what I was getting myself into. And of course, what people don't know is that, for like an opening act, usually because labels send opening acts on these tours too, so the label backs financially. Me, I had just put an album out on iTunes for the first time. I didn't know what. I had just moved to Dallas, just gotten this job, and so I think I had just finished my 9-month like probation.
Wow.
Thing when it was time for me to go on tour, and they let me take my PTO, and then I still like had some there was like days that I had to like take fully off, so I wasn't getting paid, and I didn't know where the money was coming from. But I had my friend Tiffany Stevenson, or people know her as Trey Stella. At the time, she gifted me $1,000. $1,000. Never forget that. She gifted me $1,000, and I purchased all of my flights and hotels for that first run of the tour. But then, of course, eventually I was starting to get paid for the shows from the tour. So then I took that money and put it back into getting flights and stuff like that. Because it wasn't like I was on the road like driving. I had to fly. I was going by myself to every single show. But it was an amazing experience. There's just certain nights that I would never forget that was just so magical, knowing that it's like you put a project out and there are people who will respond to you like on Instagram or Twitter or tell you, yo, this is so dope that you did this, that, and the third, and they can point out different details that I put in there. But it's even crazier in real time when you're performing these songs live, or I'm adding like a cover or a medley or a mashup somewhere, because it's intentional and people do exactly what I hope they would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the first tour I was singing Sweet Love by Anita Baker. And there's like a call and response that I got from John P. Key. It's a song called Sweeter on the show, from the Show Up album. And so people, it's like a call and response. The first like 2 shows, I remember never been to these cities ever. It's like Minneapolis and somewhere else. Never been in my life. And so I remember I was like, for me to not look stupid, because what I don't want to do is be like, sing with me, sing the part, and then put the mic out and it's crickets. I didn't want that at all, right? But what it taught me though, the energy that you give is the energy that you get back.
Yeah.
So if I expected for people to give me crickets, that's what was going to happen. So the first couple of shows, I remember looking for a girl in each show to come on stage with me and sing the part. Now, some shows they was kind of doing the most, and I was like, okay, I can't do this no more. You're making this. This is a call and response, not a duet. But okay, cool. And so I remember being like, you know what? The next show, I'm just gonna do it without somebody else. And kid you not, when I started doing it, people was getting it with me. Like, again, the energy that you give out is the energy that you receive. And I learned that from tour, like learning that I could actually do it. I didn't know that I could travel so much and be tired as hell. My best performances every single time were always the nights where I didn't have a voice prior to the show. Because traveling and being tired was just like a thing. Not eating all the right foods because you're traveling, you know what I'm saying? Like, being worn out, your voice gets tired. That's the only instrument that we know of that if your body's not right, you're not going to do well, right? And so I just remember every single show, like I would literally be like talking like, hello, like what? And literally it was Charlotte, it was in Canada, and it was somewhere else. I can't remember the last place, but I remember before the show, I did not have a voice. And I remember getting on stage, and it was something about not having anything that kind of like gave space for God to really show up for me, because it was my best vocal nights. I was doing things and landing runs that I was not planning on. Like, I was really singing. People was getting with me, and it was the most amazing experience. And so that let me know that this is bigger than someone's talent. This is a spiritual experience that God has allowed me to go on. And regardless of what I think I lack, he still shows up and still does amazing things, not just to those people, but for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed that too. And consistently enough, like, not that every show was super amazing. There were certain shows where people gave me crickets, also because I gave them the energy of kind of like being like timid and kind of scared. But consistently enough, people got with me. People walked away not knowing of who I was, but wanted to hear more. You know what I'm saying? And so much so that PJ was impressed enough to be like, hey, so what you doing next? I was actually supposed to go on tour with him again that fall.
Wow.
But something happened with the tour company. People who were booking all the venues, they had another artist from a label who they wanted to put on there. And so that person ended up getting it, which was cool too. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to go on tour with him again. But granted, I had no more PTO, so I don't know how that would have happened. But everything happens for a reason. And so either way, because I was so consistent, that it led to PJ asking me to sign with Morton Records. That and like the more is kind of like helping, you know, that conversation. But yeah, it was, I within that year, I just would have never imagined. I released that album in 2017. And then next thing you know, I'm on my very first tour. I couldn't have written a better story, because Peter has been that guy, you know, to me. And I think even when I have conversations with him now, as we collaborate on other things, like, and I'm in like his graphics guy now. Like, I really am like his go-to person now. We've been talking about, he's wanting to open a business where he went to school for business marketing. So he wants to handle the marketing, and then I handle the visual side to assist that. So even that, yeah. So yeah, I just would have never put that together. But I've always been a fan of PJ, again, because he's been just the indie guy, you know what I'm saying? But the indie GOAT, like, he's just now getting these Grammys, but he's been at this for, you know, some time and just been very consistent. And him and Emily, I always tell him, him and Emily King are my go-to. You know what I'm saying?
So who inspires you visually?
That's a hard question. I think just life in itself, as far as like inspiration for what I want to like move towards.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like all across the board. Anything could be that. As you can see, I love clouds. Like I've set my desk in front of the window. So I mean, it's gloomy today, but usually there's like clouds moving outside and everything. So literally anything. The same thing with my music. Any little thing could inspire me. But as far as like inspiration to the point of like influence and like I love watching them, like wanting to study what they do visually. Solange is like up there. It's so minimalistic, but so intentional and so like abstract. I think people can see her influence in at least my last couple of videos, the
Okay.
last couple of years. Ever since A Seat at
Yeah.
the Table.
Yeah.
I
Now
mean,
I.
even before then, Solange has always been dope to me. She's been dope to me from the very first time from Solo Star. But visually, just watching her evolve, and I'm talking about pictures and fashion, like it makes me want to take risk, you know. So Solange is at the top of my list. Yeah, I would say Pharrell too. Though he's not known for like his visuals, like it's just something about his aura and his presence and just the way that he just does things that's just it makes you want to do cool shit. And I think that's just kind of the energy that I want to give off. I just want to do cool shit. I want people to see what I do and be like, yo, that's cool. That's so dope. Even with the flaws in it. Like I did Gently in 2017. It was released, I want to say at the end of 2017. And when I did that video, all I knew is that I wanted to dance and I wanted cool architecture to be a part of it. I knew I wanted to wear denim. That's all I knew. We ended up finding that location the day of and just shot all within the same like place. You can't, that's what I'm saying. Like creativity comes from lack. It makes you figure things out. And so I just kind of want to always do that because I'm self-taught with everything. So whenever I create something, it's really because I see it in my head and I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I do. And I just want people to see it and be like, yo, my God, like that's cool. Like I want to make cool shit too now because that is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So yeah, that's really my goal when it comes to visuals. It's just doing something really cool that I saw in my head. I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I don't care how long it takes, but I'm gonna do it. And yeah.
Have you ever thought about being a creative director for an artist? Like everything, like graphics, vocal producing. So
Yes. I mean, because ultimately, and I guess it's something I've downplayed for some time too. But I mean, I do that for myself. I creative direct myself. The only difference is that it comes from me, and I do it for myself. So sometimes people will even question, like, "Wait, who did this?" Them not knowing that I'm a
yeah.
graphic, artist. But my peers, people ask me questions sometimes and ask me what I think or what they should do about this or what. And I'll be on the phone with my friends, like, you should do this or maybe try this. And they're like, oh, that's dope. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You should try it. Like, just kind of like, I'm always giving ideas, even though ideas aren't supposed to be like free. I just feel like it's just so much out there. You know what I'm saying? If I'm giving it to you, I'm just making more space for more things. And yeah, it's something I've thought about preferably in the future where I'm in a more comfortable position to kind of just do what I want to do. And I'm in a flow of music and I'm where I want to be as far as my goals are concerned. I would love to invest all that I possibly have into someone else the same way that PJ saw me and was just like, you kind of already have it together yourself. I just want to be able to kind of put some kind of funding behind you to kind of help and do whatever else. Because even prior to PJ signing me, he was already asking me to tour with him and do shows. And that's happened consistently. Like I've done other spot dates with him and just consistently. And so I want to be able to do that for someone else, to give opportunity. And as far as like branding other artists and full packaging stuff, I wouldn't mind doing it as long as they are heavily involved too. Cause I don't know if I believe in like making someone a
Just take
thing.
over.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because people have asked me in the past, like, yo, do you write for people? And I'm like, I write for myself. I write songs. But I don't know if I really believe, and it sounds crazy because I could, get really good and then get a bag behind writing one of the biggest records for Beyonce asked me to come in the studio with her and write some shit. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my peers and other people coming up, I believe independence is such a great thing. You know what I'm saying? So before even you trying to get other people to write songs for you, what do you really want to say? I'd rather teach someone to fish rather than give them a fish, because teaching someone to fish, again, feeds them for a lifetime. So I believe in that now. Granted, at some point people do evolve and collaborate with other people. And that's something I'm also like learning to do, collaborating more when it comes to writing. Because before I was just like, this is my story. I want to tell it how I want to tell it. But collaboration changes your whole entire world. It gives you a different point of view. And as long as I'm able to still be who I am, then I don't see any problem in collaborating with someone else. So yeah, eventually that's something I want to do. But until I get it right with myself first.
Yeah. So if everything was all together and you had to pick a major artist or mainstream artist now, who would you pick? Like if it was
to create for?
Yeah, creative director, just if it was your choice.
She wouldn't need it, but Solange, I would just love to collaborate with her.
Wow.
I would just really love to just sit in a room and go through ideas
and
kind of add to what you already have. Because I know that she's a creative mind herself. So like I would just go with whatever she, what you got, and then add to it. I'm good with adding ideas. And I think that's where my creativity comes from, just not being afraid to add, or not being afraid to just do or say or ask or search. So Solange, but other than that, I mean, technically I've kind of like creative directed for and with Ajani a lot. My very first time like directing a music video was for her Jumping Waves video, but she kind of already knew what she wanted. And I just added certain things to it, and I was able to direct shots and stuff like that. Ended up editing a lot with the video. When we did Lego, edited the video to like same vibe, same thing. Doing her EP covers, same thing. So I love working with her as well, because she's a creative genius. She don't get enough credit for what she's been able to do.
I want to talk to her so bad, because the way everything, I know that you're like with her in the process. I think it's something about when somebody takes their time with their craft, it always shows.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm always a person to be like, I want to be in the room when I want to see you in your moment, mm-hmm. and when it's cultivating and developing. So I love her so much, because
you should get her on here. I'm sure she'll be down. You get her on here next.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see. I'm just gonna do these fast, fun questions. It's like, would you rather? It's been pretty interesting to see the responses. If you were a millionaire, would you rather lose all your money or your memories?
If I was a millionaire, would I rather lose all my money or my memories?
Mm-hmm.
The memories I had when I had money?
No, but before you had money. So like if you became a millionaire, would you rather lose all your money that you just got or your memories?
Oh, memories. Bye. Make new ones. I'm paying off this debt. I'm living my life.
Would you rather be stuck on an elevator by yourself or be stuck in your basement with your entire family?
Stuck where?
Would you rather be stuck by yourself on an elevator or stuck in a basement with your entire family?
The basement with my family, because even in a group full of people, I know how to get in the corner and be by myself.
Next one, for 30 days straight, would you rather smell your dog's fart or your neighbor's morning breath? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Man, I feel like farts. Yeah, the fart, because people don't consider bad breath that bad of a thing. But I had a teacher in high school. She smoked and drank coffee. Oh. And I think something was rotting in the back, and you could smell her breath from across the room. So it was bad. It was really bad. So I would say the fart. People sleep on bad breath.
They do. It is a very offensive, and I thank God for these masks, because I pray that the Lord has been giving them a revelation of what we
revealing the truth.
Would you rather know everything or understand everything?
Understand.
Can you explain why?
I think knowing everything I'll say it like this. Knowing everything would be like me saying, well, I know that Beyonce does this, that, and the third. And even if it's something bad, I know that somebody does something right. But understanding would be, I understand why they do it. And that gives me an opportunity to give empathy. I think knowing something kind of can drive you crazy because you know, but if you don't know the reason why something is happening or somebody's doing something, it doesn't always give you the space to give empathy to people. And I think that's super important. So I rather understand.
Wow.
I'd rather understand why I'm in the storm than to just know that I really am in a storm.
Ooh. You are preaching, sir. You are preaching. Well, that's the interview, man. I appreciate you for taking the time out. How can the people keep in contact with you? Where can we get the music?
So Brik.liam on everything. As you can see my name up there.
Right
It's
there.
where it's written. You can find it on all streaming platforms. And then without the dot, you can find me on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Yeah.
And music is on all platforms?
Every single one.
Make sure y'all stream it to, if it's your thing. And then after you stream it, buy it.
Buy it, share it. Play it at a family function. We in a pandemic, but if y'all on Zoom, just play it on Zoom. It's cool too.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you, Brik. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Life with Larnel. Hope to see you on the next one. All right.
When it's cold outside, you are my home. When I have nowhere to reside, you are my voice. When I'm feeling mute, when I don't like the man in the mirror, you are my confidence boost, yeah.